Good morning, Apex traders. I can't believe it's actually Friday. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm actually doing pretty good. I got the video from yesterday posted. I'd like to get some feedback on the audio of it since it's actually using some of the new equipment that I have. So I'm just curious. If CJ's in the room, CJ, you're like the link master. Do you have the link? Mary, I use a Tentic for CL.
Good morning, Apex traders. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Lori. How are you?
Oh, just dandy. It's Friday, TGIF. Reminder, you mentioned it. There's a roll, the September roll expires today. If you don't have it rolled, if you have a funding account, funded account, you'll lose it. So roll those contracts if you have not. It expires in 1 minute? I didn't know that. I thought it would be at the end of the day. Roll your contracts. Quick, quick, quick. You'll be losing your account if you don't. Your account will go bye-bye. Your PA or your the account you're trying to get funded, it'll go bye-bye. Yeah. And it's quad witching today. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you, Denali. It means options expire as well. Well, Louis, do you want to wait and find out? Just leave it on September and find out. How about that? Yep, you should be good then. support level here at about 1800 on RTY. Still in dark zone for 2 more minutes, but I'm just noticing we're coming up on a huge, strong support level. 1800.7 to 1800.3. It just hit it at 9 o'clock this morning. So it's not the first bounce off it, but let's see what it does. We were supposed to roll on Monday, Alan. I'm just reminding anybody for those that did not. Pretty important. Morning, Vegas. You. No, if you pass the evaluation, you should hear from someone. I was thinking, I don't think you want to send a support ticket right now. RTY did not give us an entry, and Q did. Oh, potential Lorex going short.
It's funny, Lori, it like blew through that 1800 level, and then it just went back up to test it, and then just bounced right off of it again.
Yeah. I just took that Lorex short. Oh, I love it. ended up not being a full Lorex on R2I. Did it have HD? Oh, it did, didn't it? That was pretty. I just knew I really liked it. Kind of patched the hole there in R2I. It had that mini magnet at 1800.5, and it came back and tested it and laid another one at 1799.7-ish. And when it tested that and held, it almost put in a Lorex.
Morning, Corey. Good morning, Vegas.
Yeah, Lorex disappeared last minute, but it still was nice HD with a TX. And the confirmation of a cluster there. Tick strike pretty much lighting up red. Well, I just said that and it stopped. Oh, look, sorry.
Yeah, Nikita, I was trying to set up YM, but everything is pushing so hard down, it's going to be hard to go against it. Boy, that simplicity chart is just extremely ugly. Yeah, Mario NQ simplicity. Lino, if you just refresh the chart, that should go away. Is that error in one of the panels? Like the bottom panels? I'm not mistaken, but I think sometimes I get that error message in the Lorex panel. Oh, it's the main panel. Um, try try doing a reload all historical data. Have you tried that? Yeah, it's Lorex panel. It's usually it's a Lorex thing. Try refreshing your data, reloading historical data. See what happens. Oh, great, Leno. Perfect. Okay, sorry guys, I had to take a couple of phone calls and it all happened. I wasn't even able to kind of let you guys know I wasn't going to be here, so apologize for that. Yeah, I can see that, Corey. I'll just kind of give you guys a little heads up on what my thought process was before the news. For NQ simplicity, I was actually thinking if price was going to break below 11,795, that wall, then I was actually going to take a simplicity short and write it down to the one dev. But that happened before the news, and then the news popped it back up, and now we're back into this ranging thing, and now I don't know, a tick strike just lit up green going like straight up. So yeah, interesting. Actually, Brian, if you look at that RTY Lorex, the setup bar itself was extremely top heavy, and just the OP numbers, it didn't look like it was actually gonna, all that stuff was gonna hold, and it was going short. Um, had some pretty solid up momentum, so I'm actually not surprised that it lost because there was really not a whole lot of reason for it to go short. Yeah, by all means, absolutely. Under any other circumstance, that stack would have been great to bounce off of it. But just the way that that bar was building and the numbers in it, just it was just too top heavy, and it went down just enough to close the bar short, and then another bar below it. But it just had way too much upward momentum, just more buying pressure. Nice, Thor. So you're going to take your 2 wins. That's great. Actually, you didn't say how many wins you took, so I'm going to guess you had 4. Yep, that's what I was going to say. 4-0. Yeah, I actually missed that YM one too. That was actually a good one. That's something I actually would have taken, and I missed it like completely. Didn't even see it.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Welcome back.
Thank you. I don't even see you on mic. What the heck?
I'm in stealth mode.
Well, apparently, because I don't see your mic on.
Here, let me turn it off and back on.
No, it's okay. Don't mess with it.
It's okay. What's the worst that'll happen? It'll crash my system.
Going on around here. I don't even see you as. That's weird. You must be on the second one. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, you know what's really funny though, Lori, is I actually had a really weird scenario when I came in this morning with Hotcom. Everything was completely blank, and it was just bizarre. Actually, I had to log out and log back in, and I only had one chart that was up. I mean, everything. It was just really bizarre.
I'm wondering if that's what I need to do, is log out and log back in, and something is screwy or something. I don't know. Anyway, so what did I miss? Is it behaving? What's it doing?
We actually had one really nice Lorax that I actually would have taken, and I missed it completely. It was.
Oh, I see it. 10/22/31.
Yep, exactly.
That is a YM1 I would take in a heartbeat.
No. The one before that. The one at 10/20/14. You take that one too.
I'm looking on YM at 10/22/31. Love that one.
Right, so that's the second one, and then before
the other
that.
one is okay, yeah. Okay, I gotta shut the mic off for a minute again.
Didn't they both, Greg? Just out of curiosity. Was that flux there before, or did it just show up at 3783? Oh, RTY is setting up a short.
Okay, I think I got things calmed down for a moment.
And it won.
TX and RTY, nice. Right off that strong level that I mentioned this morning. Gosh, gotta love that.
I mean, that one had like everything. It had a mini magnet, a mini magnet off the 30, absorption X, cluster. I mean, it had everything.
Now, is it going to go back down and finish it? Because it didn't go very far. I would think it would go farther, but nope, guess not. Well, good deal. So there's been some good trades this morning. That's nice. Oh, you're right below that crash, the ZOI crash.
Yep.
That'll cause a little issue.
Yeah, I called that trade, but I didn't take it. My mouth was working faster than my hands, so
It's really hard to call it and take it. I mean, you would never guess how tough that is.
oh, it's hard. It's a lot easier to do on Simplicity than it is on Lorex stuff.
Yeah,
'Cause-
it's extremely hard to take them and call them. I mean, you think like, yeah, can you not walk and chew gum at the same time? But yeah, it's hard.
yeah, I think I pretty much broke the threshold. The walking, the trading, the calling, execution, all that. I
Oh,
think I'm
geez,
pretty
that's
much.
right. You're walking too. Yeah. Yeah, that's just kind of crazy.
Lori, I'm trying to remember. You and I talked yesterday after the session yesterday, and you said you wanted to mention something in the room. I forgot what it was. What were we talking about? It had to something to do with the Simplicity trades that happened right when you left.
I do remember we were going to talk about something. Now I don't remember either. Give me a minute.
It was something about the Simplicity calling in the room. I forgot what it was. I don't remember.
I don't know. I can't think of what it was.
You wanted to jump back in the room right that moment, and you said that.
I know, right? It was something really kind of important, and I don't know.
I guess it wasn't that important.
That was like 24 whole hours ago. You think I'm supposed to remember that? What?
Corey, I've been fortunate. I don't have any face plants yet, so that's good.
I'm just saying, just so that it can be said that I said it. If you do face plant, that's too bad. Back up and get back in the room.
Oh, it's one of those. Thanks.
No sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares? Dut yourself off, put on your big boy pants, and yeah, get back on the mic.
Oh, I said it. Yeah, we need you more in here than, so. How mean am I, huh? He's in an office. I'm pretty sure he is. Where we still are, because that one did not have a TX on the 30 tick. Yes, maybe it did because it had the TX on the 10/28/31 bar. say RTY is possibly, but it didn't look very good and it didn't set up. So again, trying to. Nope, went away. Heaven's sakes, not again. I love having guard dogs. One is looking at the other like, come on, buddy, that's a llama. We don't bark at that. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, let's try this again. Michelle and Megan, just resist that urge to take something just to catch up. It's going to be your biggest challenge today. If you've missed a lot of good ones, don't do it. YM is setting up a Lorex. Some levels below it that you'd have to put the stop below those levels. Almost there. Yay! Woohoo! Then use the EX. I'm not a tree. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, so that was nice. We got a Lorex on the YM that worked. Yeah, the morning isn't as bad. The afternoon can be a little crazy. The closer you get to close on a Friday, the more out of control that triple quad witching can be. It's quad.
Hey Grant, I'm looking at the chart you just posted. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would have done. So that yellow, I think, Lori, is that a gap line on NQ 11.888.50? What is that? Yeah, is that a gap line?
Hang on a minute. I'm reading what Greg's posting.
Regardless, so I'll just go back in the meantime so I don't lose my thought. Grant, so yes, I would have waited for that to break and close above, which it did, and then I would have entered, and yes, I would have targeted that first wall.
Yeah, yellow would be gap. Thank you. That just got me to remembering what we were going to talk about.
What, me just saying what I just said right now?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm going to write this down because I would like to, it fits perfectly with Grant's chart.
Should I mark the time on the recording so we can reference it?
You just, you just said you would wait for it to break a certain level before you would get in on that chart,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we're talking about, and I have the chart up actually on the video too, so people can reference it.
Okay.
It's basically on simplicity, and what he had sent that he just took a simplicity long, and there was a gap level at 11,888.50. And the question was, what did I think about that trade? And I guess if I would have taken it, right, Grant, I'm guessing? So yes, I would have, that's exactly what I was looking for, is if it would have broken that gap line and closed above, then I would basically, again, there is a signal, so I'm taking that simplicity long, and then I would target that first wall right above at 11,910 to give me about, let's say 20 points. So that was my thought process, and that aligns with what Grant did. So go ahead, Lori.
Okay, and this is where I want to make here's a little teaching moment. You'll notice he said if it breaks that level, a certain level, then he'd get in. And that's, I think on that one I'm not sure, it was yesterday, a little bit late to get into the trade, actually, technically, because you get in when a bar closes in simplicity. And the rule is always, if you miss the setup and you miss the entry, you don't get in. But this is an exception because there's actually a level there that Ron's watching, or he would be watching. And so to make it go a little farther on purpose to break a level is not the same thing as just getting in late because you missed the entry. I wanted to make kind of a big deal of that because if you miss an entry, you don't just hop in late, and that's not what Ron's talking about. He's seeing a level that is good support or resistance, and he wants it to break that level for a long trade. I mean, a simplicity is a longer term trade, and he wants to make sure it's going to break that level and close above it before he's getting in. And so I just wanted to point that out, that it's not just he's getting in late or something, or telling him to get in late. It's a pretty big deal.
It's actually exactly what Shalon does. He always knows, and he calls it way ahead of time, where he looks for a specific level, regardless of where price is. He kind of sees what price action is doing. He's looking at the chart, and he says, I mean, literally, sometimes minutes before, if the price gets here and it gives me a signal to go long, I'm taking the LRE. And that's kind of like the same thing that I'm doing with Simplicity. And that's kind of like one of the things I was saying yesterday, with regards to why I entered where I did. Is price action, or actually not why I entered, I'm sorry, why I stayed in the trade longer than I did. Because price action dictates, kind of what's happening. Even though the signal's right there, it's okay to have a little bit of a leeway. Again, nothing crazy, but a point or a point and a half, maybe even two, especially in a simplicity trade, I think is okay. I mean, you're talking about 8 ticks. I mean, that's enough margin for error to give the trade at least a little bit of room, so that you don't get yourself knocked out early, especially if you've got a target that's in sight. Where if you guys were following yesterday, I mean, we got pretty close, and then it ended up obviously reversing, which I still ended up taking profit on that trade yesterday, and immediately got right back into a short and took a full target profit that I called on that. So yeah, that was that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still here. I just have to shut the mic off when the dog goes crazy. Got stuff beyond my control going on. Boy, I was gone for part of it, but I see a lot of great trades. Maybe there were some bad ones too. I don't know. I see a lot of excellent entries.
Don't feel bad, Corey. I'm a goose egg too. I'm double zeros as well. And I actually missed one trade that I would have taken, and other than that, I wouldn't have taken anything else. But I can tell you one thing, if I can kind of pass this along as well. This morning, for maybe like the first hour, one of the things that I have learned with Apex, and it just gets solidified and reinforced every single day, is I know when not to trade, and that's probably one of the most important things, is to know when to stay out, as opposed to just going out there and trying to force and make something happen. I've never really been a fan of taking a square peg and putting it in a round hole. So yeah, it's really got to come to me. Otherwise, I'll just completely ignore it and stay away from it. Yeah, it's crucial, and it's something that I fortunately for me I learned very early on and was able to see that. Is I didn't want to be in a situation where I was putting myself in a situation where I had to take a trade and it would lose, and I go, oh wow, why did I just do that? And then that could trigger a whole bunch of other things that would lead to revenge trading, blowing accounts. I think you guys kind of know the trail that leads. So to avoid that, knowing where, exactly seeing something and staying out, it's perfectly okay. And knowing that I just saved myself from going down a path that I could regret for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, month, whatever. So just to avoid that whole thought process altogether, know when to stay out is crucial. Yeah, Vegas, actually I'm talking about me this time, believe it or not. But I think we've all been there, right? I mean, it's just sorry, I was just reading the Grant's message, so I kind of lost my train of thought. I guess if you kind of roll everything back and put this into your thought process and think to yourself, if you can see into the future and you don't want to have the conversation with yourself as to why did I take that trade, what do you have to do to make sure that you don't have that conversation with yourself? So if you stay out, you'll never have to worry about having that conversation with yourself. It's like, why did I take that trade? Exactly, Mario. And not only that, but another part of your edge too is your psychological mindset and where you're at. And if you're not 100% in the game, regardless of what your strategy or trade plan or whatever it is, you've lost the edge. So at that point, you just need to get up and walk away. That's another thing too, CJ. That goes back to accountability. If you find yourself an accountability partner, somebody that you hold yourself accountable to, where you have to explain what you're doing every single day. If you're not disciplined enough to do that with yourself and be honest with yourself, then find somebody that will basically beat you up when you make a mistake, because you will make mistakes. I mean, it just happens. We're human. Yeah, mentor groups, exactly. Find somebody in the mentor group. Go into the group, find somebody that you can connect with, and just you know, see if they'll, or anybody in the group for that matter, just post something in the chart and just, that's the thing, is post the stuff in the groups. It's helped me a lot. I mean, Lori has mentioned that many times where she pounded that in me. When I first started out, it's like, make sure you post, and there are no stupid questions, and there really isn't. And it's okay to make mistakes, because if we don't make mistakes and we talk about it, we're never going to learn.
Smartest people are the ones that ask the quote stupid questions. If you don't ask, you don't know for a fact that you actually have it, you understand it the way you're supposed to. A lot of times there's just some little thing you missed, and so you're understanding it improperly, and you're making mistakes over and over. So it's really important.
Yeah, just what Thor said, and that's exactly the thing. And also, guys, keep this in mind too. Some of the best mentors and coaches and all that, guess what? They've got mentors and coaches too. It doesn't stop. So it's an forever, growing and evolving circle, if you would.
Yeah, I just want to kind of throw out there, Ron's been trading with Apex since around January. That's when he started. He did everything by the book, went through sniper boot camp, posted a ton of charts, asked a ton of questions, did everything the way he was supposed to, learned it by the rules, then and constantly asked questions and posted charts, and that's how he learned. Then the next step above and beyond, as far as starting to read the charts and know where to be picky and where not to be, you got to start somewhere, and that's at the beginning, following the path that's laid out. There's a reason. Everything in that boot camp, there's a reason for it. So I just wanted to kind of remind you, he's only been here since January, and you think, yeah, that's like 9 months. Oh, that's a long time. No, it really isn't in the trading world. And look where he is. I mean, geez, that trade yesterday, he had an idea of where, and he wasn't just guessing. He was actually looking at his chart and looking at where a reasonable target would be, and doing it live, talking about it live as it's happening. So it wasn't just luck. It was, he really had an idea of where it was going. Kind of cool. Good elevator on YM. Just for a plain elevator, probably not, because it's not. If you're looking just at an elevator, not a Lorex elevator, but just an elevator, it is not the first in the trend or even in that leg. So yeah, no. Might have too many days loaded, Jeremy, and that might be just too much for your machine. Oh, Vegas, you have come such a long way. Possibly both. The 30 tick is really a heavy lifter as far as the Lorex goes, so you might want to keep it down to not a lot. I don't know what kind of computer you're trading on, so I can't say. I am long, he's asking. I don't see tick strike lighting up one way or the other. You're bouncing off a wall. If it gets back up there to the right, 751 could be an entry. They all have them? Oh, I like it when they all have an entry. And YM's the prettiest entry, so that would be. Oh, yeah, I actually do like this a lot. Comes back up to 751 on YM.
I actually took that trade, Lori, and it won.
Me too. I got out of sim for it. I really shouldn't have, but I did. So I'm a happy camper, luckily.
Yeah, I took it for a double scalp.
Yeah, that's what I did with it too, double scalp. Yeah, look at that burger at the bottom of that on YM. It's like it laid some really solid footing to go up there. That was Sweet. Double scalp means I put on one scalp and one trail usually. When I say a double scalp, I mean I take my trail and make the take profit the same as the scalp. So I'm taking two scalps instead of a scalp and a trail. Now I'm kind of wishing I would have trailed it, but
Yeah, no kidding, right?
yeah. Why did I really like that one? Because it laid that mini magnet on the 30 and the 10. It had a cluster right on the end. I actually like that a lot. If you look left on the 30 tick, you had a mini magnet at, let's see, when did it get put on? 958. 956 bar, it laid a mini magnet at that same level. And you had clusters at that level previously. You had 1, 2, 3 clusters, a mini magnet, and then a mini magnet lower on the 30. That's just kind of like saying, okay, yeah, let's go again. We like this level. Let's do it again. And so it had a star and a 10, even though it didn't lay a full SLV. The 10 and the star on the bar before are a little extra confirmed, and it laid a ZOI, which we've kind of learned those are really nice.
And it had ODD.
So it did. Okay, it had ODD. I didn't even consciously see that. So that's why I really loved it. It had everything on that bar that I like. I like a cluster near the closest to the end that I can get, the better. I want a mini magnet if I can have it. I want a TX on both the 10 and the 30, and I want an absorption X. It had everything. And then as an extra confirmation, it had the 10 and a star on the bar before. I would have preferred a ZOI there for an SLZ, but the fact that it laid a ZOI on the reversal bars, just, yeah, we like those as well. And, yeah, thank you, Corey. That was the other thing. If all three markets have a Lorax, yeah, I want that. I like it when YM and RTY both have the same setup. When they both have a Lorax go in the same direction, I love that. And I just look for which one looks better. And YM's was the prettiest, so yep, that I love. Thanks for that, Corey. I'd forgotten about that. That's like the first thing that caught my attention when somebody said that. So that had a kind of a bit of a story to tell. Not a big story, but it did have, if you look on that 30, you look back and you can see, yep, it liked this level, and it took off. The last time it was here, it took off on the 30 tick. So, and yeah, that burger was great as a jumping board to jump off from. You just, I mean, I love it, and I really kind of mad at myself for not trailing it, but during allergy season, I'm trailing a whole lot less.
So, Lori, can I add something to that?
No.
Okay.
Of course.
Then I'm going to take a phone call. No. So, when we all noticed it, it was actually retracing quite a bit back towards the cluster when we were kind of contemplating whether to get back in or not. Because that's when, you know, it was called out, and then basically if we look at it at how it was happening live, the Lorax set up, and then it immediately started retracing back towards the cluster. And then we started talking about it, saying, oh yeah, that looks really good, you know, if it goes back up, so on and so forth. For me, what I was looking at that time is, first of all, mechanically speaking, it had pretty much everything that I was looking for in a Lorax to get in. And then as soon as it dropped the mini magnet and the cluster on the next bar, then I felt much more comfortable getting in and then obviously taking the double scalp and the trade itself. So I mean, because it was a little bit behind after the signal had come up, and the second bar had already progressed a little bit. For me, that's what the thought process was. For me, it's to get in, and why to get in late, even though we missed the entry. I don't know, Lori, your thoughts?
Yep, love it. I mean, I put my entry down at the normal entry, so it had to come back up and get me. Because if it did decide that it's got a strong it's going down, well, then I didn't want to be in it, of course. But so I set the entry down at the normal place where it should, what you'd normally put it, which was 37.51 or maybe 2, whatever. But yeah, I just, if it comes back up, that sucker's gonna go. And
Right, and the same thing was for me. I put the entry in the same place, but the thought process that was going in my head, and I'm sure a lot of people thinking, should I take it? Should I not take it? The confirmation that I got is as soon as that cluster and the mini magnet popped up on that second one, then there was no question that I placed the order, and it hasn't hit that
yeah,
price yet. So that's what I was thinking. Okay, so since Mario just said something, I'll just comment on this on the video just so we know. I actually did put up the chart and just highlighting my mouse over the area of the trade in question. So when you guys do watch the video, it's wait until after we talk about the trade, and then the screenshot will be up of what the market looked like at that time. So just wanted to let you know, heads up.
thank you for that, Ron.
And it also has the OP bar of the entry. And as I'm speaking, I'll actually show the OP bar, the following bar that had the mini magnet and cluster. So yeah, so I'm showing the OP bar of the entry, and then the next bar after that. Which, by the way, also had some really strong characteristics of, going up, where it had an absorption X and literally like a TX mini magnet. I mean, it had everything just to push it up.
It's in the Skype, Harold. Ron, can you post the link?
I don't have the link, but CJ does.
CJ always has the link. Now, notice on YM, we saw it as we were in that trade just before we got in. Most of us didn't get in until after it retraced back up, I think. And it made that burger. Look at how it bounced perfectly off that burger twice. And going to the moon.
I'm actually showing the chart as you're speaking, Lori, and I'm pointing to what you're talking about.
I mean, you can see that that was such a strong base for that trade. That if it was going to lay that and keep going, man, that was good.
I'll be right back, Lori. I need to take a phone call.
Okay. Seeing that it took off after it hit the third time it hit, what do you think it would do if it comes back? I have no idea. That's why I never take a third bounce. If it sets up an entry, yep, okay. If not, I'm not going to do a thing because I'm not guessing at what it's going to do. The first bounce is pretty standard. It's probably going to bounce because that's a strong level it just put in. It was right above a wall, and that was a really strong level. So, yeah, that's probably going to bounce that first time. It didn't give us an entry, but it was, would have bounced. But the second one, the next one I wouldn't have touched, but look at how far it went. It didn't give us an entry either. But yeah, after that, who knows? The 30 tick is the exact same as the 10, except you use the 30 for a brick size and you use the 30 template. Glad you learned something, Glenn. Now the RTY is setting up, at least a TX. It's working on a Lorex there. YM has the level, but not the Lorex. Now RTY is setting up for, it's not a reversal bar, but it's trying to set up a Lorex short, which might just mean a continuation. It's not an entry, it's not a trade. I'm just saying it may have a little more downward motion now. Maybe why we didn't give a good setup. On how your computer is. What market really? It's looking bad for a Lorex. Magnet may hold, but it's just, I don't know. You just had elevator just before it, so it would be right at that ZOI. It's not something I want to take in live, that's for sure. But you got that 1800 level pulling it up. Yeah, YM is put on another paw in a mini magnet. See, you've got a little more chop here. Now it's trying to penetrate that in YM, that big level, that ZOI, mini magnet, all that stuff. It's almost like it's chopping through it, trying to get through it. It doesn't have the strength to go barreling through it. So I wouldn't want to, personally, I would not want to take anything in this area. Wait until there's something clear. Oh, NQ looks good. Going right into a bit of a level, though. ZOI, paw, mini magnet, another ZOI. Strike is light enough greens.
Okay, I'm back, but I'm probably going to be like in and out for the next 10 minutes or so. I got a bunch of calls coming in and out, so.
Wow, CJ, yours is really off. I mean, if you look at the numbers above the bar, everything's off. That's not the only discrepancy. Look back, there's another one at the turn at that same mini magnet. Mine is the same as the room chart. So you have a mess there, is what I see. sure the break at end of day is checked on that particular chart, that it didn't somehow get unchecked?
Yeah, I'm back, Lori. I'm looking at CJ's screenshot. Yeah, CJ, mine's completely different than that as well.
Mine matches the room chart
Let me take a look at the room chart and
that
see.
he has in that screenshot.
Oh, okay. I guess yeah, I can follow that. Yeah.
Yours matches what? The room chart saw, or or CJ's chart? Yeah, mine matches the room chart.
Yeah, my matches a room chart as well.
Oh, I think it just seems like it does.
It's what it's doing today. Regardless of what it
Yeah,
does any other day, it's what it's doing today.
agreed.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like done for the day. I'll take my one trade and that's it.
Yeah, oh, I'm definitely done for the day.
Yeah, especially for a Friday, I'll take today as it is, no problem.
Work size is fine.
Hey CJ, just for kicks, I know it's going to sound crazy, but if you reload all historical data on that 30, it may come back and be okay. I know it sounds crazy, but it works for me.
Probably.
It works for me.
I almost called that Lorax on NQ, and I just wasn't quite comfortable enough to call it, but it was sure sweet. Uh, 11:31:57 on NQ. The last Lorax spotted is what I liked it, but it just wasn't quite. Yeah, I don't like RTY right here. This is an area I do not want to trade in myself. RTY and YM are just, I'm staying away from this area. We had those, I mean, it laid that wonderful ZOI and the mini magnets, and now it bounced off it beautifully, and now look what it's doing. That's why we say after two times, yeah, let it go. Do I only take Simplicity and LRE? I do not take Simplicity or LRE. I basically trade the Lorex. I'm guessing you have some data mess
Yeah, it's
up
probably a
somewhere
data
then.
issue.
Yeah. Okay, well, what you need to do is just exactly what you're doing. You know the ETX, the TX, the DTX. You need to learn those really well and be able to identify all of the different setups because that helps you read the market, even if you don't realize it does. Then learn simplicity and LRE. And I wouldn't touch that last one on NQ. Lorex is a little more advanced, but um, once you get all the basics done, it's really not too difficult. Once you realize what it really is. You really got to have all the basics down first. Not loving this Lorex on YM, although, yeah, it went away. Didn't even have a full Lorex by the time it closed. Okay, I have to step away for a minute, so I'm going to turn the mic off. I may or may not be back. Hopefully, but if not, have a good weekend.
Okay, guys, I'm going to call it a day. Have yourself a great weekend, and if you are still trading, then trade well. And I'll see you guys next week. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll post today's video. It'll probably be up in the next hour or so.